So, just been chasing after my girls. Whew. I don't know about you, but you have a child, you're going to need some childcare. And I don't know, do you find it hard to know what's right for you? There are so many choices and just so many things that you just have to consider. And what is right for me? What is right for my child? How do we work this out? Why don't we just have a look at some of the options? Hey, thanks so much for joining me here today as, we talk about childcare. It is a huge industry, but it is so vital. It is so needed. We have a child. At times, we're going to need to have it being cared for. That's not by us. And, that could be for a few hours here and there, or it's full time because of work. We all actually really have the same questions about it. What is right for us? What is right for my child? All of these different things. And sometimes it's just enough to almost make you just go, and want to pull out your hair because how do we make it work? And look, let me just say, there is no judgment here. If you need a few hours to get away, from your child so that you can just breathe, or because you need full time because you're working, you know what? No judgment, because we all have to do what is right for us and what works for us and what is best for us. And when we come to childcare, that's what we need to do. But oh my goodness, there are so many options. Let's have a look at some of these options. Let's look. There's babysitters, nannies, au pairs, childcare centers, somebody coming to your home, you going to somebody else's home. There's mother's helpers. There's before and after school care. They're swapping with other families, and no wonder we get flustered. So let's have a look at the different types of childcare that we have. So babysitters, to me, these are the ones that we use, a few hours here and there, or maybe regular hours every week. But I don't really tend to think of babysitters as being somebody full time. And they could be family members, they could be teenagers, old, young, whomever that you feel comfortable with to come and look after your children. Well, we have nannies and au pairs, and sometimes people tend to think of them as being the same. They really are not. Now, nannies are full-time and will often have a few other additional responsibilities to just maybe the child care. Some people have live-in nannies, but usually it's not. But then we have au pairs who are somebody who lives in. It's actually a foreign exchange program where they come and be part of your family. You pay for their room and board, and you give them an allowance in exchange for them looking after your children. And as I understand, they also have to do a language course as well, because usually you're not going to get an English speaker or your native tongue speaker. Now, au pairs can be great, but if you're not really comfortable having somebody in your house, then maybe that doesn't work for you. Now, we also think about daycare centers. A lot of us, that's really what we utilize, especially if we need something longer care during the day. And they could be privately small run ones or a bigger chain. These are great, especially if you're having early educational needs for your children before they're heading off to big school. And daycare centers do have a whole lot of list of checks and balances that they do need to follow. But maybe you want to have somebody in your house. That can be great, knowing that your child is being cared for in an environment that you just feel that they are most comfortable in. And especially this works great if you have to leave really early before your child wakes up, so you're not having to get them up to take them somewhere else. Having somebody come into your house, if that's what you feel comfortable with. Or you could take them to a family-run daycare. These are smaller, definitely, than childcare centers. There usually is a legal limit of how many children are allowed to be watched. Legal limits and legal liabilities are all great things to make sure that we're following and getting things right. This can be a great option, still having that socialization, still sort of having that mothering touch, and not being in a big class. One that I love and my girls love, a mother's helper. We have a few younger friends, they're preteens, who love to come over and play with the girls. And it's great. It's like this big sister and you get all this stuff done. I know, I can go into my room and I can get writing done or cleaning. And my girls are just having a great time with somebody who's coming, and I don't have to pay them the full babysitting rate, but they're getting experience. My girls are having fun. Mother's helpers really are wonderful. And remember, you are there while they are there. And then, of course, the last one that I also really like is childcare swap. This works great if you have friends that have children at the same age as yours. And you say, hey, why don't I watch your children for a few hours? You go and do whatever, and then you swap that over. This is great because it really does save money, and your children get to play together. They get to see their friends. And so I know that I've run through these options really quickly, and they all have their own ins and outs. Again, so many options, so many things to think through, and that is okay. What is right for you? I mean, again, so many things that we have to consider, so many things that we sort of have to take into balance, the finances, how many children, how many hours is it needed? And then you look at the pros and the cons of each one and weigh up all of those costs. Now, for us, it really didn't make financial sense for me to work full time and to have the girls in childcare. So we looked at that and went, okay, so now I have a part-time work that I can do from home, which is flexible hours. And so I can balance that with my husband's job if needs be for meetings or working with students and parents. And, it's great. Yes, we did have to make some sacrifices with it, but it's what works for us. And there are lots of considerations to take into account. One of them really for me is safety. Whether at somebody else's house or at your own house, the childcare center, safety is so important. We really need to be able to trust the people that are looking after our children. If you don't have a good gut feeling about it, don't go with it. I mean, we have to trust, and our children have to trust who's looking after them. Allergies and medical needs are also a really big consideration if your child has any of that, and to be able to find something that's going to work for you and work for your child, especially with those needs. And I think about numbers as well, how many children are there? Does your child need more socialization, or are they better with one-on-one? Again, so many things, and I know that I could probably just make your mind go if I just rattled off and listed questions you could ask and considerations and things that you need to be looking out for. And so we won't go into them here, but check out the website. I'll put them in a blog post. I'll put some links and everything for you. I will say what I look for in a babysitter. I want somebody that is going to respect things like bedtimes and what can be eaten and when, and really actually look at who am I and my husband as parents and how we parent our children, and can they fit in with that. One of my favorite comments from a child that I babysat years and years ago was that he told his parents that he really liked me because I made them go to bed on time. And, you sort of might laugh about that. And some babysitters are like, nah, it's okay if they go to bed late. They don't have to deal with your children the next day, do they? And so, I want somebody that is going to respect that, who is going to have fun and interact and engage with my children. But where do we find these babysitters? I ask my friends, who's babysitting your children? Who do you like? I go to church, and so I actually look at who is working with our children, because I know them, I'm working with them, and so I trust them. But maybe there's other social clubs that you're part of, or community events where you run into people who do work with children. But there's also some great websites like care.com, sittercity.com, and I'll put those links in the blog post on the website just so that you have them, because places like that and the bigger ones like that, they really vet their workers. And so you can come and go, this might be a stranger, but I really feel that this is somebody that I can trust. Let's just take a breath and go, whew, what's going to work for us? check out, as I said, the blog post. I will put those links in there, and I'd be happy to talk to you about this. Like, if this is what you want, shoot me an email, send me some comments, like, hey, what are some ideas or some thoughts here? I would just love to interact with you, and I would love to hear your thoughts as well on what you think is good. Maybe we could make our own sort of list of things that we can consider for babysitters or childcare centers or whatever works for you.